let's move to the Cosmos. What the hell, Bill?
Please.
You were pretty.
I
Go
like
ahead.
I don't have enemies already.
Well, you were pretty critical of the Cosmos this week. I mean, for good reason. I mean, there was the Cantona maneuver, if you want to call it that. But wasn't the point of signing Cantona in the first place to be the director of a non-existent soccer team, to bring attention to the team, to say to MLS, hey, we're here, we're still here, we've got big balls, we're putting things together, we're making news, we want the 20th spot? Wasn't that really the point of all that?
You working for them now? I mean, is that what that...
You know I am a Cosmos apologist, Bill. I have been clear about that.
I do. Listen, I have, and I don't want to bore anybody. Everyone can go, everyone who knows me has heard this, so you can go get a drink of water, or whatever. There's only one thing. And, look, if you went out in your backyard tomorrow morning and dug a hole to plant petunias or whatever, and you found $1 billion, and you decided that you wanted to be an MLS owner, okay, with your money, because that's all you wanted to do. So you called up your boss and you insulted him for 5 minutes and hung up. And then you decided you were going to get yourself an MLS team. What would you do? Would you go get on the phone and hire Giorgio Canaglia, and then hire Kobe Jones, and then hire Eric Cantona, and then hire I don't know, whoever else they've hired at this point, Giovanni Savarese,
Yeah.
Or would you call up Don Garber and say, "Hey Don, I got $40 million. You want to stop by and pick it up?"
Seems easier, doesn't it?
Yes,
It does seem a bit easier.
it does. It does. You walk into a room with the MLS owners, who consist of people like Phil Anschutz and Clark Hunt and Joe Roth and Will Chung, Chung, what's his name? I feel terrible. I can't remember. Anyway, you walk into the room with them and you say, "Hey, I want an MLS team, and I've hired Eric Cantona, and I've, Kobe Jones works for me, and yeah." So what? What does all publicity in the world have to do with getting an MLS team? There's only one way to get an MLS team. And frankly, if you started an MLS team, the last person on God's green earth you would hire would be Eric Cantona. And the man quit soccer in football in 1997, I think.
Yeah.
So he has never expressed the slightest interest in being involved in the sport. He's never coached. Now all of a sudden he's the director of soccer of the world's greatest soccer club. Come on.
I absolutely understand the cynicism there, because it does look. It
It's not
looks
cynicism.
It
It's
looks like
the truth.
grandstanding to me. It does. Yeah.
Looks like grandstanding? Okay.
No.
That's because that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it is what it is. And I think that.
Look, I just don't get what it gets you.
Yeah, I don't know what it gets them either, although it gets them in the news, and maybe that's part of it. And maybe they're kind of worried that even though Don Garber said, yes, we are actually considering New York getting another team, maybe they're not quite sure that they're the ones that are going to get it. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in that realm, and I don't know how hard they think they have to try to make sure that they are the 20th team. And it doesn't really matter anyhow, because this whole 20th team concept is bunk, because we talk to people in MLS and we know they're going to go beyond 20 teams anyhow, so why panic in the first place? But maybe there's something we don't know behind the scenes that and maybe, as you said, maybe this is kind of a little bit of amateur hour, but who knows?
But it's not that. I don't think that that's it. And again, I don't know. I'm having a hard time figuring this out. But Kemsley, of course, the guy who is behind all this, supposedly.
Yeah,
and they always make a point of saying he was a former director of, Spurs, was it? I can't remember.
Right.
He's a real estate developer who went bankrupt, like a lot of real estate developers, in fairness. But he doesn't have this kind of money. It's really, to me, I think, about attracting investors. They're trying to create a lot of smoke and a lot of noise and a lot of momentum and a lot of whatever, and trying to get some people to sign up with money.
There we go.
And this is not an environment that's easy to, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you could have called up a bunch of guys and say, yeah, send over a couple of million. Yeah, okay, fine, yeah.
Right.
People don't do that anymore. People have gotten, burned pretty bad. I really think the only thing it's about is PR, and I don't think PR gets you anything. But I may be wrong. I may be totally wrong. They may have this whole thing in the bag, and they're doing all this just for the fun of it. I don't know. I don't know.
I think maybe there is something to the fact they're obviously trying to coax investors to be involved. But when you listen to the interview between or read the interview between Grant Wall, for instance, and Terry Byrne, I don't know if you got a chance to do that, but you get
I saw part of it, much like it's done.
Yeah, it's 4 pages long, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But you do get.
I love Grant, but that was terrible. Anyway.
But you do get some idea from Terry that there is some sort of plan that they have mapped out, that they are building towards something, and they did turn those two, pay-to-play academies into free academies. Where they're getting all this money, no one can say. But there seems to be some sort of a framework, and that maybe the whole Cantona signing really, maybe in the end, is as we've said here, it's a PR move to keep them in the line of sight, in Don Garber's line of sight. I don't know.
Well, you know probably better than I do, because I really do not follow the New York scene very well. But I mean, the whole problem with that whole development is a stadium, right?
Yes.
You can find lots of people in New York with $40 million that falls in their sofa. I mean, there are a lot of people with money. There's plenty of.
Yeah.
The problem is getting a stadium built in New York, and it's next to impossible, and it's going to cost a fortune. I mean, it's going to cost 3 times what it would cost to build anyplace else.
Yep.
And that's really the sticking point. And maybe what this does is somehow or other con a bank into loaning you $400 million for the stadium. I don't know.
I suspect that Cosmos are going to have to work with the Mets owner, who were interested in bringing a MLS team to New York anyways. My guess is that they're going to look at that being some form of a partnership and work out some deal. Only thing I can think of.
Well,
Yeah.
Terry Byrne said that in that interview with Grant Wall. And by the way, I thought that it was fascinating, because in his book, and I interviewed Grant for that book. He's a very nice guy. He said that he'd spent the entire time he was working on the book trying to get Terry Byrne to talk to him, and Terry Byrne refused to talk to him. He wouldn't answer his calls. He wouldn't answer his letters. He ignored him in person. He just refused to talk to him. And all of a sudden, Terry Byrne's got something to sell, and Terry Byrne wants to sit down with Grant Wall. I would have told him to drop dead. No, I was writing a book. I wanted to talk to you, and you stiff-armed me. And now all of a sudden, you want to talk to me. Well, fine,
Yeah. Well, I can. Yeah. I mean, well,
Look, the bottom line is, and you're a Cosmos fan, and I understand that, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I don't understand that. It's really the problem. What's the big deal? It's a name of a team that existed 30 years ago.
Yeah. It is.
Most of the people most of their audiences wasn't even born. I mean, I just don't get it's the Cosmos. Well, this makes all the.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, personally, and this is just, me personally, obviously,
Yeah, no.
I was a little shitzer growing up in New York, and the Cosmos were everything. I even played for a little youth team that was named the Cosmos at West Point, New York, when my dad was teaching there, and something about that team from when I started following it in the late '70s until they dissolved in the mid 80s, I don't know. It had this magical thing, and of course my mom, is German, and she's a big Franz Beckenbauer gal, I should say, and something about that this is a team that even when I moved to Europe, everyone knew the Cosmos. Everyone knows of the Cosmos. It isn't just a U.S. thing, it's an international thing. Everyone has heard of the Cosmos. They know, even Ferguson knows of the Cosmos, and maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's like when your favorite team gets thrown to the side and is gone forever. You think they're gone forever, and then they're gonna come back. I don't know. Maybe that just that's probably what it is. It's that sense.
Just to be clear, you do know that if this team takes the field, that
yeah, I know.
Carlos Alberto and Franz Beckenbauer and Giorgio Canale are not going to be running out on the field. Okay?
Yeah.
You do know what's running out of the field is a third-round draft choice from Michigan State,
Right.
and third-rate Argentinian that they got cheap because his legs are deformed or something. I mean, this is an MLS team, and they're going to hit the field, and they're not going to be any of these guys, Wim Riesbergen or any of those people, and going to sink to they're going to be the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, it could end that way, Bill, and I'm not doubting that at all. I think that
how is it not going to end that way?
Well, here's the thought of how it might not end that way. If you're an idealist, is that you might see the salary cap change in MLS 5, 4, 6, 10 years from now. You might see the DP situation change. I don't know, but obviously 3 DPs. That's the beginning of something. But again, of course, it limits the team you can have after that. But it's all about the future, I guess. I don't know, Bill. I'm an apologist.
Speaking of DPs, I don't want to change the subject, but I'm going to
keep it clean, Bill.
Thank you. God bless. Did you see that Robbie Savage has sadly decided to turn down the Whitecaps? Just broke this afternoon. He's decided that he just doesn't want to complain. I personally am heartbroken. I love to see 37-year-old talentless European leg breakers. I really think we can't get enough of them here. And now we're down one. It's really quite disappointing.
That's kind of funny. I actually, had Robbie Savage on my make-believe Portland team on FIFA 09. But, hey.
Well, he'll have to come off, I'm afraid. I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to trade him off now. All right. So, have we covered that Cosmos thing thoroughly? Or do we want to talk about it some more?
No, there's nothing really.
I think we're done, right?
No, we're done.
Okay, good.